What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. I think there's a real terrible practice within the Yu-Gi-Oh! Buying and selling community, and that's whenever a price skyrockets, the seller cancels orders of the buyer and relists them with them still in stock. This exact scenario is what's bad. Now, to explain why I defend some people in the past, is that if you use Crystal Commerce and you have a personal website and Amazon and eBay and TCG Player, it hooks them all up and you can sell out within 15 minutes and then still be listed in the other places without Crystal Commerce updating. Thus, you actually run out of inventory. But it's a huge scumbag move to still have that inventory in stock and relist it even higher, not honoring your sale. And so I used to shout out and say, well, here's Simply Unlucky's lowest listing right now, so if you want to support a fellow content creator, I'd also do this with Jobber and Pause Joker and other people, but then this thread popped up and you might have noticed that I've stopped doing it. Then Simply Unlucky had his Kickstarter and I reviewed it, and it's one of the best Kickstarters in terms of giving back to fans that I've ever seen held, but we have an update to the situation, so I just want to bring it to a full head and make this video. Beware when buying from Simply Unlucky. Personally, I would not buy from a pre-sale from him again, and I would make sure that it's when a card is already out. But these actually didn't happen with pre-sales either from the people that are reporting on Reddit from a while back. So, we see Galahad say, "Hello all, I recently decided I was going to try to get back into the game with the most recent structure deck release, which at the time was the Pendulum structure deck. I got the structure deck from my local game store, but they did not have the singles I needed, so I ordered from Simply Unlucky's online store thinking a big name would be trustworthy. I was wrong. I purchased the cards for the following prices," and he posts proof that he paid $51 for 3 of them, that they were here, and then Simply Unlucky has it back in stock, repost it, and ups the price. Unfortunately, this isn't the only example in thread. People say, wait, so they canceled your order, jacked up the price, exactly. And some people try to say they understand it during banless season. No, that's not an excuse. You should have been playing the banless game. You should have had stuff that you speculated to go up off the market and honored your freaking sale. A card going up in price is no reason to screw over a buyer. This is why. The buyer comes to you for the card, and then they stop shopping around. They could have scrambled and gotten more, but they probably only had the money for their playset or whatever they're going after through you. When you cancel that, they could have had an opportunity to go to a trustworthy seller and get a similar price. You might have just happened to be the cheapest at the time, or they trust your name, such as Simply Unlucky here, but then you actually cost them money later while you've refunded them, while they haven't been scammed out of their money. Now, to hunt down that card, they are paying more. They are losing money directly because of you, and you were supposed to try to have it for them. And we see when Dangerous Tsuchinoko was hovering around minus 25 a copy, or around $25 a copy, he had 3 for $20, so a playset listed. And I hopped on it right away. I never bought from him before, and 3 days into it, I got a message that it had shipped, and it was not going to be there. Here, someone responded saying it was a mistake and the sale was for 1 copy for $60 because there was a price hike around that time. So again, it said it shipped and it never did as well. So I want to review what happened in Zodiac last night, and Mark Anthony actually messaged me and I said, I agree. It sounds like you got the short end of the stick. It doesn't sound like you were treated honestly and that this doesn't happen, and other content creators seem to think so as well that are in the business. So as you can see, he actually orders a playset of the Evil Hero Malicious Bane for $70. Great pre-sale price. This is around what it was going for and what it's kind of still going for in Europe. He pays the man his money for 2 quantities. He loves heroes, and the seller cancels the order because something was wrong with the address, but yet gets messaged later that it's because of his low feedback. Unfortunately, due to the fact that you have such low feedback, we've been alerted by eBay to be aware of your account. This has never happened. I've sold $500 orders to people with 0 feedback. So Simply Unlucky has been doing a lot of business with and in Japan lately, and their version of Yahoo Japan, which is like their eBay, does have a system where you can gate block low feedback, but this is not something that eBay does, and other people will confirm this later in thread. And I'm not going to be able to send out your order. I will, however, issue a full refund for the cancellation. Sorry for the inconvenience, but we must be aware of new accounts and protect ourselves from scammers. Okay, look, if you are adding tracking to your listings, you make sure you're just hyper aware, videotape you know, packaging it then, and also if there's a return, videotape you opening the package. You're gonna be good. You're not gonna lose your money. You're gonna be fine. This just seems like an excuse to relist, and people in thread obviously displeased, but what I want to go down here and highlight, besides me munching popcorn and then giving my actual thoughts in thread, if you want to pause and read right here, is Jobber coming in and basically voicing exactly how I would put it, but much more eloquently. Hello everyone! In case some of you don't know, I'm actually the guy they call Jobber. People tagged him in thread, by the way, because he's done business with Simply in the past. I read this post, and it really does hurt me to see my friend Simply Unlucky keep doing things like this, and I also saw the message they sent you, the buyer, and that's just not the truth at all. eBay does not think that anyone with low feedback is a scammer, nor do they alert sellers of such things. Otherwise, they would just have a setting on accounts to not allow people with X low feedback to bid/buy. But why on earth would eBay or any selling site ever have this as an option, blocking people from growing their feedback and accounts, ... So again, like I said, there is actually a website, but it's the Japanese website, Yahoo Japan, their version of eBay and auctions that I've actually showed on the channel before. I'm not going to bash him in any way here because he is actually a real friend of mine, but speaking for myself here, I have never canceled a person's orders in my 12 years of business because of a high price and never will. I feel the exact same way about this. This is a scumbag move. This is how to tarnish your name. This is how, and the fact that this is continuing is actually insane to me. You just honor the deal and you move on. Make the buyer happy and they will come back to you over and over again. I've had some people buying from me on eBay for over 9 years, and that's a really special feeling that I pride myself on. And this is why I do try to suggest Jobber. I know he's a good businessman. I know he's actually representative of the competitive community too with his team. I've sat at dinner with this man and his team. He's an awesome person within the community who does work hard to make sure this happens. If you want to last in this field with such close family that we are, he's talking about the Yu-Gi-Oh community because it's very tight-knit and things like this come to a full head, you need to be understanding, honest, and honorable. Otherwise, you will just crash and burn, putting yourself in a hole you will never be able to climb out of. I really do love our community, and I love how tight we are together, looking out for one another. I've met some of my best, longest-lasting friendships from the game. Okay, anime friendship speech. You've gone too far, Jobber. So needless to say, this game is very important to me, and seeing my name in this post being spoken about in a positive light was also very touching to see, so thank you for that. I am deeply sorry for anyone who had to deal with such a negative experience, and I just hope that Simply Unlucky can figure things out before, like I said above, he puts himself in a hole he'll never climb out of. So, in the Reddit thread, what stands out is Simply Unlucky had a response that got downvoted into oblivion, so the OP actually tied it to the original post for the response from him. I'm very sorry that some of you who have had a negative experience ordering from SimplyUnlucky.com, I honestly stated the retail side of business alone while trying to do the YouTube thing, and he basically finds it overwhelming and has inventory issues. But the thing is, when your inventory issues have it still in stock, you honor the deal. You don't also gatekeep people who have low feedback. You just take extra precautions when you're making this sale. I've done way bigger sales than this amount to people with lower feedback. If it's an inventory issue, you just tell them and be honest. But it's very obvious that since things have been relisted, as shown in thread past this, that the guy's not happy, and then you see him jack up the price to $195. Just be honest that if you've run out of inventory. And I also get the people rationalize it. Oh, I have this amount for sale for pre-orders, and then I'll hold this many for later sales. Well, if you had this many set aside for later sales, honor the deal out of those quantities. Make sure the consumer is taken care of who bothered to shop through you, and then give them those extra set aside quantities if you still have them. Because this is not the kind of look you want to have in the community multiple times. Now, to be fair, going through SimplyUnlucky's feedback, a lot of people were pointing out how much negative feedback he has. For this amount of sales, it's actually very low. But the thing is, in order to leave negative feedback on a canceled order like this, you have to wait almost, I think, a whole week in order to actually leave it, so you have to persist. But it does pop up more than a couple of times when we look through. Now, we see people ordering multiple things under the $20 mark, and this is something that plagues the Yu-Gi-Oh community. People will say they didn't get their items when they were shipped out and claim that, oh, they never got here, trying to get either A, more free items, or B, their cash back on these items that actually were sent to them. And if there's no tracking, they're going to win that dispute and get the money either way. But they use that negative feedback to actually threaten. And I'm not saying that's what people are doing here. Maybe they really didn't receive their items. But you know, a majority of the complaints seem to be from people like that. A bad experience, would not recommend. 26 days to get full refund on an Appaloosa, which is actually at, you know, a pretty high price for Appaloosa. But there's other complaints of not receiving their items. High feedback sellers also saying that, like, things unbroken. Yeah, so it took forever to ship item. That's just a long thing. Scamtown takes money, doesn't send product, no communication. Pokemon as well. So a lot of the negative feedback actually also seems to be from the higher end sellers on other games. Case not sealed, gave BS reply. Beware when buying boxes or cases. That's a freaking high feedback on this War of Spark booster box case. But just, again, looking through, it's a lot of multiple feedbacks under $20. And maybe they don't make it out. Maybe there's some, with the amount of things that he's shipping out, that a lot of these people are legitimate. But again, I think when looking through, you've got to look through for the people that are saying, hey, I ordered this, price went up, didn't get it, or on the higher end side is what you're looking through on the feedback. And there's not a whole lot of those, but they do appear. They are around, and I think that's kind of sad. It's unfortunate. It's not a good look or good thing to see when you see over the $20. Never got my item. Orcus deck core. That's kind of funny. People were talking about his deck cores too. My opinion on it is this. You shouldn't have this look multiple times around the same kind of issue. You shouldn't have it being that this many people are reacting in a way to seeing it and coming out in public multiple times that you have canceled an order and upped the price afterwards and made an excuse that doesn't exist with on there. And I know Simply is a team. This might not be Roman himself. He to fulfill this many orders, it takes multiple people. He's running a store now, so this may not be him, but you need to correct the course of the ship. You need to make sure to honor these kinds of things. I personally think you should make it right with Mark here, and this is an unfortunate thing that happens all too often in our community, and it's disappointing to see from one of the biggest names. So this is why I don't suggest him anymore in Market Watch, period, was the Reddit thread, and the continuing action of this versus people thinking I'm backing him because I think his Kickstarter was good. It's unfortunate, and this is my public statement on it. Thanks for watching, everybody.